Brad, are you a snake because you let your audience run you? Did he snake her? Seriously, what are you doing, bro? Oh my God, you don't sit there and beg people for money. Oh my God, bro, no, you can't. What are you doing? Why are you saying this? No! Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I want to go over this Brad Taste video. Tom Dart did it. It's like 37 minutes long. We're gonna watch it at 1.5. It's called "Why Brad Taste Deserves His Downfall." Cause and it came out. When did it come out? 2 days ago. All right, let's go.
There are a lot of music reviewers on YouTube, but not a lot of successful ones. It's really hard to stand out in any genre in a sea of other creators who are trying to climb their way to the top. But one man would stand out, Bradley Lehman or Brad Taste. During the last half-decade, he's managed to accumulate 400,000 subscribers, making content creation his full-time career along the way. Unfortunately for Brad, a series of self-inflicted controversies have really made his channel performance suffer, making it very clear that from the start, Brad was never really equipped to handle the small amount of internet fame that he got in the first place.
I under no circumstance can listen to this album right now because I am not safe in my own home.
Wait, what? Oh my God. So, has he always been like this?
And I really can't describe much else.
This is the story of the rise and fall of Brad Taste. It seems like Brad originally began his channel, as many YouTubers do, as a joke.
Hi, my name is Eminem. Your girl wanted Eminem, so I gave her Eminem.
Okay, bro. Okay, bro. He's got the Gen Z shit going on right now.
But it wouldn't be long before he started taking his channel a little more seriously to try to turn it into a real business, a real content creation venture. He was clearly inspired by music reviewers like Anthony Fantano at the time, so he started uploading simple reviews of albums to YouTube.
Hey viewers, Bradley here with a review for Forced Witness by Alex Cameron.
These videos had noticeably low production quality with no real video editing apart from jump cuts, but by taking inspiration from general meme culture from the time and commentary channels, he began implementing more comedic shit to make his stuff, well, funny. Viewers quickly noticed the improvements in production quality, and they really praised him for it down in the comment section, but he wouldn't truly be put on the map, so to speak, until he started reacting to albums. The typical format for a music review or a movie review is to listen to the content or watch the content in full, and then turn on your camera and give your thoughts on it. But Brad had something else in mind. He decided to start filming himself listening to the album in full, and giving his thoughts and commentary along the way.
You know what? A lot of people do that. A lot of people, I don't know about the whole album, but they'll actually just listen to the song on air. And then they have to fight the copyright system when they do that.
As he would pause through the songs. By implementing his improvements in production quality with this new format, he was really able to make a much better product, where viewers could essentially watch his video, kind of listen to parts of the album along the way, and he could crack jokes about it, he could give his immediate thoughts on songs as he listened to them, and specifically reference the parts he was talking about. Although keep in mind the songs were heavily cut up to avoid being copyright claimed on YouTube. And all these skills coming together would finally culminate in one series of videos. His reaction to the most classic emo album of all time, The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
That's so cool.
And people loved this video, including me. This is how I originally found out about Brad's content, and I was like, hey, that's a good video. I like it. Subscribe. And keep in mind, this video actually blew up before the whole emo revival happened around 2020, where everyone was rediscovering these bands.
Oh, so he's been doing this for a while then. See, I didn't know Brad Taste was on YouTube that long.
Younger people were getting into early 2000s rock for the first time. This is way before that, and despite that, the video blew up at a time when My Chemical Romance was arguably at their least relevant point in recent memory. And his first part of that series is still one of the most popular videos on his channel. So he really started growing, he was experimenting with new formats, and by 2019 he had 40,000 subscribers. By 2021, just 2 years later, he had 100,000. He also expanded his previous formats from just reviewing albums to
Damn, so he was growing quick.
making more generalized videos about music that were a lot more clickable. If you don't care about the new Tarded Jerker album, you're probably not going to click on Brad's review or think about it twice when it comes across your recommended. But when he posts a video titled Great Songs on Bad Albums, that's something that any music fan can relate to, and it made his videos a lot more clickable for new viewers. By this point, Brad was able to turn his hobby into a full-time job. He was definitely taking it a lot more seriously, and even dropped out of college because he was making more than enough money to support himself and live comfortably. He didn't have to go the normie, wagey lifestyle, okay? He didn't need that. And as any good businessman will tell you, you gotta always be looking for ways to further monetize your endeavors.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
So he started live streaming. People who start off streaming with no prior audience are usually gonna have a really bad time and probably give up pretty quick because they get stuck in this hell of like 1 or 2 people maybe watching their shit, if even that. Streaming for days, months, years, sitting in your bedroom alone, shouting into the void and hoping that someone will stumble onto your shit and like it enough to stick around. But
yeah, it's kind of rough to become a live streamer just starting out. It's rough. It's not easy. I mean, it's not the hardest job in the world, as some streamers would like to try to tell you. But it's rough as far as confidence goes. Because you're putting on this show, you're putting on, you know, the pomp and circumstance to like 10 people, you know?
Streaming when you already do have a following from videos you've made, in theory, should be a lot easier. But a lot of people don't make this transition well, because if your viewers didn't subscribe for streams, then it's going to be really difficult to convert your regular subscribers into people who actually want to see you live stream, especially if you're not good at it. But Brad, thankfully, was actually pretty good. He gave interesting commentary on the music he listened to, he cracked jokes, he constantly interacted with chat, which is great to make the viewers feel involved in the content that they're watching. I mean, that's like the main appeal of live streaming, right? You get to...
I mean, true. My chat feels abandoned if I don't cuss them out at one point or time in my live stream. My chat loves to be attacked by me, especially my mods. I remember I did one live stream, it was a couple weeks ago, and I did not fuss at them at all, and they thought they were safe until it was during the BJ Investigates live stream, and I ended up playing that song because I was like, you know what? I didn't fuss at y'all at all during this whole live stream, so now you have to suffer. And I played one of her songs as an outro. I make it a point to make my people suffer. Yes, I bully my audience, and I'm damn proud of it too. My audience loves it. I don't care what anybody says.
Interact with the actual creator and type to them and see them read your shit and be like, oh, I think this about that. And not only that, he was able to seamlessly transition his prior format of listening to an album in full and reacting to it on his stream. Only this time, he could collect donations. And after noticing a lot of people in the super chats were paying him to be like, hey, can you review this thing that I like? Can you review this album I don't like? Can you look at this thing? He decided to make a threshold where you have to pay a certain amount of money, which at one point I believe was $400, in order for him to justify reviewing the thing you want him to review. And people shelled the fuck out for this. They paid him so much money. He could...
Can you imagine getting paid money? Like, people would actually give you donations to listen to their music? Bro, I am doing this wrong. You know, that kind of reminds me of what Cabos used to do. That's how Cabos and Deaf Noodles had like a thing between them. Because Cabos used to review commentary channels or people's channels. And someone, I don't know if it was Deaf Noodles himself or someone else, I don't remember that part of the story, but I think they gave Cabos $50 to review Deaf Noodles' channel. And Cabos tore it the fuck up. And that made Deaf Noodles cry. And he ended up making a video talking about how he was going to leave or something like that. Because it hurt his feelings of what Cabos said. Bro, it's Cabos. Of course Cabos was going to tear it up. Cabos don't give a shit about what comes out of his mouth. But you know, bro.
Could then take that live stream and cut it down a bit into a simpler, easy to watch YouTube video. He could post that, and then he can collect ad revenue off of it after the fact. In theory and in practice, this was a great way to monetize his format and really just rake in even more dough. And this time it was for doing less work. He didn't have to do a ton of editing on the new YouTube uploads. It was like simple cuts here and there, and that was it. So things worked out. Brad grew his channel to a level he had never seen before. He had over 300,000 subscribers. Things were going really well. Unfortunately, just as Brad was hitting his greatest stride and really making it on YouTube and making a ton of money, there was also something else bubbling under the surface that began to come up. It became really clear during some of these streams that Brad was not doing well mentally. Mental health, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not safe in my...
I will say this. That is one thing that live streaming will do to you, okay? You could be having mental health issues or whatever, and you can hide it in a video. You can hide it in a video because you can edit it, right? And normally, I believe with a video, because I don't really make straight up videos or whatever, but you're going off of a script, so you can hide that from people. You may even be able to hide it with a couple of live streams, but eventually your real self is going to come out. And if you are having mental health issues, those are going to eventually come out. That's why sometimes if I'm having, like, you'll see that I won't stream for a couple of days. It's because either, you know, I have a lot of stuff going on, like with medical stuff or whatever, or it's because I need a break, because I feel like if I went live that day, I wouldn't give y'all a good show because something could be on my mind, or quite simply, I need a mental health day. So that's why sometimes I'll take a break with a day or two, because I just need that break, because I don't want to come on here and not give the show y'all deserve, you know? I want to be entertaining to my audience. I want to give y'all something to laugh about, or we can be angry together, but I want to provide something to y'all. I don't want to be off and y'all wasted your time being in here watching me and it sucked. It'll come out. It'll come out if you live stream enough.
My own home?
At one point, he recounted a particular bad trip he had while under the influence, which the mere mention of made him break down into tears over on live stream.
Yo, Ali, 4 minutes ago says, hey Brad, I heard you mentioning a struggle with disassociation. I've been having the same experience for years after a bad trip.
Thank you, Allie. I appreciate that. It's
Listen, I've broken down and cried. I remember one time when Tipster and I were still cool, he was going over this one story and there was animal abuse in it, and I thought I was okay. I was watching it right before I was going to go live, and I was like, oh God, like it really affected me. And then I started playing my music, and I was like, no, you gotta straighten up, you gotta straighten up, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be fine. And the more I was trying to hype myself up, it actually did the opposite effect. And then my music ended, and I had to, it was showtime, right? And I just started bursting out crying. And I told my audience, I'm sorry, I can't do this tonight. And I kind of told them what was going on and how it affected me, and I didn't expect this to affect me, and I'm not trying to be a wuss by crying, but I can't help it. And it was bad. And I had to shut the live stream down because there was no way I was going to be able to give them a show in the way I was feeling.
It's not that I'm happy that you're going through it. It's just nice to know that someone else, like, I'm just not alone in this shit.
This is your brain. This is drugs.
Now, for his entire career, Brad had been uploading a lot of videos talking about his mental health, his various addictions. This was like a consistent thing for him, but most of those videos have since been removed. But in an upload from January of 2022, he describes how powerful marijuana was for him in particular.
Get smoking that blood.
He claimed
Bruh, that's embarrassing. What?
that it took control over his life for some time to the point that he felt isolated from everyone else. He pushed them all away, and he didn't really care about anything or anyone. Even after 5 months of being clean, as of him posting this video, he still thought about it every single day. But this was not the only addiction that had a serious grip on his life.
Well, that's how addiction works. That makes you an addict. You're gonna think about it every day.
My real drug of choice was video games. Ever since I discovered them, it felt like the real world didn't actually matter. It felt like living didn't actually matter. Because this thing existed that I could do for an infinite amount of time, never get tired of it, always feel stimulated, and it's a safe place that I could always go to.
Before, when he was in high school or college, he had set in stone responsibilities to adhere to. He wasn't able to just succumb to these addictions, right? He could suppress them because he had his teacher being...
Oh, he's one of those. Okay, when I say this, I'm honestly not trying to be a dickhead when I say what I'm about to say. Just by what I've seen so far, it honestly does seem like he shouldn't be on the internet and doing this until he gets himself straight. Not saying forever, but it really seems like he's been like this for a while, and his internet should have been shut off a while ago, you know? Ugh. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not, that's not me being a dickhead, that's me actually being concerned.
Being like, you need to do this assignment. He had his parents breathing down his neck, being like, Brad, get off the silly Fortnite. It's time to do your math homework. But now that he was a YouTuber, he had no official boss to report to. He didn't have a time he needed to wake up or a time he needed to go to bed. As long as he was making enough content to make ends meet, theoretically, he could do whatever he wanted. So he started wasting more and more of his time on video games and drugs as escapism. Now, I know that the stinky green okay, is very socially acceptable. Every time I've made comments about the negative effect weed can have on someone, I have a lot of people like, it's not addictive, man. Shut up. It's just not, man.
That's a lie that it's not addictive. And I'm gonna tell you why it's a lie. I think it definitely can be addictive to people because I had to deal with somebody for 6 years. I had to deal with somebody who was highly addicted to marijuana. To the point where it was bad if they didn't have it. Like, bad. That's all I'm gonna say on that. It was really bad, and I went through a lot of shit because they didn't have it. Not everybody gets addicted to it. Not everybody gets strung out on it or whatever. But yes, if you have that type of personality that can get very easily addicted to stuff, yeah, anything can be addictive. I'm addicted to nicotine, caffeine, and sugar. Anything can be addictive, really.
Great, I get stoned all day and my life is awesome, dude. Joe Rogan likes it.
Imagine if you gave a white supremacist 5-MeO DMT.
And then you're also going to have people in the comments thinking, Brad, video game addiction? What a joke. But I would argue that anything can be addictive, and there are probably a lot of people out there who are addicted to both of these things.
Okay, facts. Turkey Tom coming with the facts. Yes, anything can be addictive. There you go.
Are completely unaware of it because it's so societally acceptable to spend all day playing video games and smoking weed. In my opinion, anything that you sink time, energy, and money into consistently, despite its clear detriment to your well-being and your success, is an addiction. In small doses, anything can be fine, of course, but for Brad, it wasn't just a small dose.
Spending 4 or 5 hours in front of a screen watching gaming content, playing games was normal, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. In fact, it was so normal that when I was trying to figure out my life, I just was like, I need this. This keeps me sane. I can't get rid of this. I can't change this. This can't actually be the problem.
These addictions were so...
Yeah, you always have a tendency to think that at the time that you're actually going through your addiction. I was addicted to Mountain Dew, like regular Mountain Dew, before I found out I was diabetic. Probably a big reason why I ended up being diabetic. I was addicted to Mountain Dew. If I tried to stop Mountain Dew, I was getting headaches. That's how addicted I was. That's how many Mountain Dews I was drinking a day. Anything can be addictive.
So bad that Brad has stopped caring about the passion that made him a self-employed creator in the first place, music. But Brad was determined to improve his life, to work on these addictions, and to put an end to it, so he stopped smoking. He also set a big limit on himself for the time per day he could spend playing games, which is also something that he would only allow himself to do after all of his work for the day was already done. Sorry, I had to stop recording because I had like a Brad Taste Schizo moment. I heard the door creak and I thought there was someone in my house. I was about to go kill him.
I am not safe.
You know what? Honestly, fair game. I don't blame him for that because I've been like, wait a minute, who's in my house? What's going on? Just saying. It's like last night, actually, Pumpkin decided she wanted to have the zoomies at like 3 in the morning. My husband is away. And how she was making noises, it sounded like somebody was walking around and pushing things over in my house. So, you know, like a good normal person, I picked up something very big and sharp and I creeped around my house going, who's in my house? And come to find out it was Pumpkin.
Safe in my own home.
People in the comment section of this video were really supportive of him. People who could relate to the struggles he was going through and their various addictions, whatever it may have been. They really liked that he was improving his life and setting a good example for his audience by doing so. And they also respected the fact that he was, unlike a lot of other content creators, willing to talk openly about his mental health struggles and addiction struggles. Now, Brad would also make a big point on his channel to talk about sensitive social issues, taking a firm stance against any casual racism or racist jokes being made in his chat.
Now, I take blame for this. I've made content that's very much encouraged people to say some stupid shit like, you know, Japanese music showing up as anime music, or reggaeton is all copy and paste garbage. Another one being, there's a lot of Asian hate casually just thrown in the mix as well. I sort of just threw this comment in because I completely forgot what I was trying to say, but this is referring, I guess, to Korean hate, K-pop. I could have definitely done a better job at denouncing this, but admittingly, I didn't really see a big problem with it until recently. A big reason is I've just educated myself on a lot of different cultures.
In Brad's view, people were writing off music and art based simply on the country or ethnic origin of where it came from, and in his opinion, even casual jokes at the expense of these cultures were fueling widespread racist sentiment towards them. He claimed that he had educated himself on these cultures, and he also aimed to educate his audience about what he had learned. While his intentions were definitely good, and I think that, you know, if that's what you want to do with your audience, you want to push for social change, I think that can be a good thing. Ultimately, this would lead to some very negative consequences for his audience, where a lot of people would be very invested in his social and political views, even more so than his opinions on music, and these two ideas would begin to really clash. In June of
Yeah, see, this is a big reason why. Like, I'll drop hints about my politics every now and then, but I refuse to do a whole ass stream about politics. No. I'm not a political streamer, and quite frankly, it's none of your I mean, you could probably guess about my voting, but it's none of your fucking business who I'm gonna vote for. It's none of your fucking business how I feel about what's going on over there with the two wars that are going on. It's none of your fucking business on whose side I'm on or how I feel about them. Just like I feel like it's none of my business how my audience feels about those things either. I remember when those wars started and people would come into my chat trying to get me to talk about it, and I would tell them, it's none of your fucking business how I feel about it. But you have a platform, you should talk about it. No, I shouldn't. You know why? Because I talk shit all day, and I'm a drama tuber. I talk about drama. That's real life shit. It's none of your fucking business how I feel about it. And if you can't tell, that's great, because you're not here for my political takes. You're here, me shitting on people. Or sometimes agreeing with people, but that's why you watch me. You watch me for the shit that comes out of my mouth, for the shit talking that I do, you know? You'll never catch me doing a political stream. I refuse. I'm not doing it.
of 2024, Brad posted a picture of himself with Ethan and Ela Klein of the H3 podcast. And if you don't know about the Brad Taste drama, you're probably mentioning, why am I even talking about this, right? Well, this kind of thing, taking a picture with a podcaster, which would be, you know, a relatively innocuous post to any other kind of audience, was something that many of Brad's followers took a big issue with. Many of them replied to him on Twitter, asserting that Ethan and Ela Klein were genocidal Zionists. And this is due to Ela's former membership in the Israeli Defense Force and what they saw as Ethan's failure to condemn Israel during his coverage of the Israel-Palestine conflict on the Leftovers podcast.
And that's a bunch of, and I said this when it first happened, and I'll say it again. That's a bunch of fucking Americans who don't understand how the IDF work in that sense, that it's mandatory for you to join if you are a citizen over there. It's mandatory, I believe, when you're 18. I believe it's when you're 18. I'm not 100% sure on the age, but I know it's not like kids. But I believe it's when you're 18, it's mandatory for you to join. I'm just saying. Yes, 18. There you go. And that's a bunch of Americans who don't understand that the world does not work like the United States of America. Just saying. And Israel is not the only country that makes you join their military when you turn 18. Now, certain countries, they vary on how many years you have to be a part of their military. You know, some countries may be 4 years, some countries may be 2 years, some countries may be 6. But Israel is not the only country that you have to do that in. And not everything works, not every country works like the United States. Get a grip.
And this is a conflict that ultimately resulted in Hassan Piker being removed from the H3 podcast brand. Comment after comment rolled in criticizing him for even taking a picture with them, which caused him to really start to feel the heat. I'm aware that being around Ethan and Hila at the moment is very questionable. I wanted to meet them despite people's valid criticisms of them. I'm aware that this is a bad look, and posting a photo with them may upset many people. Not the best decision on my part. This tweet was definitely made to suppress the backlash and give his perspective on why he took a picture with Ethan and Hila, but instead it only threw more fuel on the fire and sent those who were upset further into their rage about it. Wait.
You know what? And the sad thing is Brad Case should have stuck his middle finger up and go, you know what? Fuck you. I took a picture with him. Fuck you. That's what he should have done. I dare my audience to come after me over some stupid shit like that. I sit here and I talk shit about people. It doesn't mean I actually hate them. Well, some of them, maybe. Some of them, yeah. No, it wouldn't be a very nice picture that I would be taking with them. But it doesn't mean I hate everybody I talk shit on.
You know they were problematic and why? Then why would you ever want to meet them? If you knew Ethan and Hila were Zionists, why even risk your reputation for that meeting? Brad then responds saying, I wanted to meet them because they were famous and I had the opportunity to meet a creator who was a pivotal part of my childhood. I had no care for the moral implications at the time. This portion of his audience became more and more livid at him with each post he made because he took a picture with these people and they didn't really care about his—
Because he kept feeding into the trolls. Do not feed the trolls. Learn how to ignore them. Now, sometimes I have to admit, especially with that BJ Investigates video that I made, okay? I dabble in talking to the trolls every now and then, but overall, like, I don't answer every single one of them. And on Twitter, sometimes I'll just flat out ignore. I ignore them, or block them, or mute them, you know? But sometimes it's fun to interact with the trolls, but what he was doing, you don't do. You don't do what he does, unless you tell them, fuck you, yeah, I took that picture.
His reasoning. It wasn't good enough for them. In their eyes, Ethan and Hila supported genocide and are akin to like Hitler apologists or sympathizers or supporters. And even taking a picture with them in their mind legitimizes and promotes them and their ideology. But not everyone came to the same conclusion. You did have people saying things like, you're being too harsh on yourself. You met some famous people and took a picture. Not everything has to be tied back to something controversial, and the people giving you shit over that aspect of it are spewing nonsense.
You know what? This person right here is a real one, okay? This person is a real one, because that statement is so true. Not everything has to be political. It was a fucking picture. Not everything has to be political. Stop it.
But Brad seemingly did not agree with this defense of him, saying the famous people in question are hated by a lot of people for really strong and dangerous opinions, and I plastered my smiling face next to them and posted it online. Now, without getting too deep into the weeds here, as someone who doesn't really give a shit about this conflict at all, I would argue that from all the coverage I've seen of this conflict from Ethan and Hila, they clearly don't support the deaths of innocent Palestinians. They just also don't support the deaths of innocent Israelis, which makes sense because Ethan's Jewish and met Hila in Israel, and Hila is Israeli, so obviously they're not going to like that. They have a much more nuanced view on this topic than a lot of the people in Brad's audience are presenting, but instead of defending himself against the criticism and instead of defending Ethan and Hila or just shutting up about it, Brad basically accepted what his audience had to say unquestionably and just didn't give any real pushback.
That's letting your audience run your channel. Do not do that, because that will be the death of your channel unless you tighten it up and let them know you're not running my channel. Don't do it. Don't let them run your channel.
Agreeing with that. Naturally, Ethan eventually saw this and he decided to chime in on Instagram saying, this is Brad. Someone on the crew was kind enough to get him VIP tickets so he was able to come backstage and hang out with us. I had the chance to speak to him for a little bit and thought he was a nice guy. Here he is apologizing for taking a picture with me because I'm a Zionist. What does this even mean? To those that use that word as an insult, it simply means anyone that believes Israel has a right to continue to exist. I'm not upset at Brad, but when your ideology concludes that 90% of an ethnic group are monsters, I think you probably just don't like that ethnic group. My heart goes out to the suffering in Gaza. I pray every day for a ceasefire. I will continue to support Palestine. So now Ethan is coming down on him and Brad starts to really feel the pressure, right? Especially because Brad—
I don't blame Ethan for saying something about that. I think he had every right to say something about that. I'm not taking that away from Ethan. I think he had every right because it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Brad had previously denounced them. And from this point on, Brad was already in pretty deep, but I think the kind of thing you would expect given his previous public statements would be that he'd either, one, ignore them, or two, criticize Ethan and Hila for their positions and like call them out and really go in on them. Instead, Brad expressed his very frustrated mental state of being unable to end the controversy and make everyone happy. I genuinely don't understand how anyone is supposed to handle the amount of noise that comes from having an opinion. I think I've seen every single side of the situation be mad at me for a different reason. I'm either doing too much or not enough, and trying to make everyone happy is killing me. Now, I can understand Brad—
Stop trying to make everyone happy. That's your main problem. You can't make everyone happy. That's impossible. That is an impossible task. Especially, listen, at least you don't do drama. At least you don't do drama. Because y'all should have seen some of the comments under my BJ Investigates video. Oh my God. I have been called I'm ableist now. I'm cringy. I'm jealous. Good God, don't do drama, Brad. Don't do drama. Stick to music. Stick to music. Don't do drama. That's all I'm gonna say.
Brad's frustration here to an extent, but I think what he fails to understand is that these people in his audience don't just think that Ethan and Hila are like silly people or like kind of controversial, you shouldn't be around them. They actually believe that Ethan and Hila are genocidal. They believe they support an ethnic cleansing. And if you were under the belief that someone was perpetuating a genocide, you probably would be unwilling to accept anything less than a public disavowal of that person. On the other hand, Ethan feels like the audience is misrepresenting him. And obviously, he has no respect for these people who are, in his view, slandering him and claiming that he's a monster. This is an issue that you really can't play both sides on if you're in Brad's position. You either have to ignore the audience entirely and just keep pushing, or you have to publicly, firmly take a stance on what side you believe in and shit on people who don't. Unfortunately, he seemed incapable of doing both, and as a result, no one was really satisfied with his responses. Even though he wanted the controversy to end, he would go on to further fan the flames by even shitting on those who were just telling him he didn't need to take it that seriously and like telling him he should chill out. You're superficial and not threatening to my career, so yeah, you aren't worth anything to me. Now after
Bro. You fed into it. You fed into it. Oh my god. Bro, you fed into it.
all of this had happened on Twitter, Brad would post one final long tweet about his thoughts on the issue, saying, "Members of my family have died at the hands of Hamas, and it has honestly made this one of the hardest situations I've ever been presented with. I understand why people are upset, and I want to make it very clear that I stand with the people of Palestine." While this did temporarily placate the audience of people who were mad at him because they like to see, he has the same opinion as me, based, it also led to a lot of mockery from other people on Twitter.
They're trying to provoke Brad into being a lol cow for them. Like, they are.
Yep.
Like, they're trying to piss, like, all of these lazy-ass commentary YouTubers.
Hey, you, man!
Brad and his fiance, at least at the time,
Rude? Wait a minute.
They're trying to piss, like, all of these lazy-ass commentary YouTubers.
Hey,
Rude? We're not lazy. I would love to present Bestie with that soundbite. Are you a lazy drama tuber, Bestie, with as much research as y'all do and make the threads and, tear things apart meticulously? What? Lazy?
you, man!
Brad and his fiance, at least at the time, seemed unwilling to accept that this entire drama was really self-inflicted by Brad and he did it to himself. Now, at the time, I had personally criticized the way Brad handled this, and while initially he did fire back at me with a little bit of a potshot, once I posted a video about the situation, he seemingly understood my criticisms. Unfortunately for him, this would not be the end of the saga, because Brad had now entered a period of unending controversy where every single week there would be a new issue that people were in my live stream chat telling me to react to, and I was just like, what are you doing? Take the Rose Malay controversy, for example. In July, Brad promoted a small content creator named Rose Malay.
Oh my god, Rose Malay. Don't get me started on Rose Malay. Oh my god. I can tell you with certainty of all my soul, I cannot stand Rose Malay. You want to talk about a clout demon? That is her. Rose Malay is a clout demon from hell. She will say some outlandish, crazy shit just so somebody will invite her onto a live stream to argue the point. And then she ends up flipping. Every time. I cannot stand Rose Malay. Yeah, Anne remembers Rose Malay. Ah, come on now. She just wants to be your friend, Xylie. No. No, thank you. No, thank you. Ugh.
On his community tab, someone who he'd been friends with apparently for years and supported, and he really liked her content. He wanted to shout her out and send some people her way. On the surface, her channel seemed relatively harmless, but after looking through some of her older posts, people became very, very concerned with what she was saying. Rose had made a lot of tweets where she was defending, we'll call it forced love for this video. In some of the posts, she posited ridiculous hypothetical questions about if it would be okay to forcibly love someone in the event that all women refuse to have sex. She said,
She irritates me so much. Oh my god, why was there a Rose Malay section? She irritates me.
that forced love is natural and necessary for a healthy society.
Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches.
Period.
Crazy. She also went on to defend human and animal relationships in posts. I don't really even want to read them out loud because they're really graphic, but yeah, she was in full defense of those. Now, initially, some people thought this was serious. Some people chalked it up to jokes, but with so many of them and even her long drawn out justifications for how our word, forced love, is cool, it became more and more difficult for her or Brad to explain these away. But Brad would actually defend Rose, claiming that she is incredibly traumatized and mentally ill. He goes,
Yes, she is traumatized. Yes, she is very, very, very mentally ill. She is one of the few people that I have absolutely no problem saying she shouldn't own a camera or a microphone. That is my stance on Rose Malay. She shouldn't even own a microphone. Matter of fact, they should cut her internet off. That is my stance on Rose Malay. And I don't care what anybody has to say about that. Just saying.
She isn't a monster, just someone who really needs attention and will say some really messed up shit to get it. She knows this. She's trying to learn from it and grow. Now, I think most people would definitely agree that Rose is mentally ill. It usually takes some level of mental illness to justify what she was justifying, but people were still very critical of his willingness.
No, she has a lot of mental illness. No, let's not take anything away from her. She's very mentally ill, I believe, and that is my opinion.
To support her and promote her, especially when he had just condemned Ethan Klein for much less. And then here he was, willing to defend her for some reason off of what she said.
It's every day is hard. And I have to just cope with the new way that my brain works.
Oh, honey, you get off. Oh my God. See, this would have been a moment of me calling in to that live stream, telling him to get the fuck off the live stream. Seriously. What are you doing, bro?
But I don't want you guys to feel bad for me, because it was my decision, and I don't regret it.
Eventually, I ended up getting on a stream with another drama channel called Chud Logic, during which Rose would also call in. She basically communicated that she felt persecuted by the internet for old posts she had made, she felt persecuted by commentary channels, and at the same time, she...
Yes. Yes, you are. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, you are. I want you to feel that way. 100%. I have zero issues with Rose, but I give zero fucks that she believes that. I don't care. That's how much I don't like her. I don't care. Cut her internet off.
She was still willing to defend Brad. She was upset that her old post had caused him to get backlash and get in controversy. Now, Brad would eventually switch on his prior position. He ended up going public and apologizing, saying he didn't know about her prior statements. I really wanted to believe this person could change. I saw my own mental disability in this person, but they have said some of the most awful and evil stuff I've ever seen. So he's backing off from her. And he probably thought that this once again would end the drama entirely. Unfortunately for him, Rose would then go on to have her own very public mental breakdown.
It's very weird to have somebody one day tell you that they're advocating for you so strongly and so publicly, and tell you that it's okay to make mistakes, only for the next day for them to publicly bash you.
With Rose being cut off,
I can tell you, when I watched that part, I had no feelings. I'm gonna be honest. It was like, oh, Rose Malay is talking. Anyway, let's move on.
off with her one connection remaining to a popular YouTuber, she decided it was time to go full scorched earth on him. And so she released this 20-minute video titled Brad Taste is Lying to You. First, she claims that Brad does not actually care about these controversies and has no real opinion, and on top of that was fully aware of her controversial tweets and didn't give a shit. She shows a tweet of him screenshotting one of her posts from 2018, seemingly showing that he had some awareness of her controversial comments and didn't actually give a shit when he wasn't, getting in public Twitter drama over it. She then goes on to leak messages of Brad from a year ago, messages where he seems to be saying that he doesn't care about her controversial post. I don't care what you post. No one is even that petty about me following you. Those people before were just really toxic about it. Oh, Brad? Ooh, Brad, are you a snake because you let your audience run you? Ooh, did he snake her? Oh, you know what that tells me? That tells me you can't trust Brad. Because listen, just because it's somebody I don't like, you kind of have to recognize a snake when you see one. Care about what you post. No one's even that petty about me following you. Those people before were just really toxic about it. I appreciate that. I do post some wild shit though. Obviously, I'm not going to change who I am or anything, but I do agree that tweeting the way I do is probably not healthy. Nah, it isn't, but I'm constantly looking for attention with what I post. I just do it in a more kosher way. Wow. Same stuff, different coat of paint. I mean, fair. I'm better than I used to be, so that's cool. I feel like I'm maturing. It's just so easy to be riled up and inflammatory. I really do think Twitter brings the worst out of people, but it's always cool when people realize that my shitty tweets don't define me, and I'm actually a cool person when you get to know me. Oh, absolutely. Twitter is horrible. And yeah, you're just voicing your opinion, and yeah, you are a cool person. That's why I'm over the whole tweet thing. Now, to be
Brad! Oh my god, you're a snake! Oh! He be a snake! Man.
fair, the tweet that Brad made that Rose cites, the one where he screenshotted her statement about forced love, that tweet in particular from her could be read as a joke, so it's possible that at the time he figured that all of her tweets were also edgy for the sake of it and not seriously endorsing unethical interactions and forced love. Listen guys, I have to make a statement. Rose Malay supports forced love. Look guys, I love love, no matter who it comes from, okay? And you know what, sometimes she doesn't know she wants the love.
You so freaky ass!
But throughout the rest of this video, Rose decides to leak even more posts. In one of them, she leaks some DMs between the two of them that were related to his post on her of the community tab, right, promoting her during that whole controversy. He expresses a lot of frustration. He's saying like, the one thing that I stand up for, the one thing I believe in, I get completely disowned by my own committee, right? Everybody shits on me, despite the fact that this is the thing I actually believe. In regards to the Ethan Klein controversy, Rose also asserts that Brad hates the audience he's cultivated and just despises them and thinks they're retarded, basically.
Responding to some of his fans' criticisms on Twitter, he says, dude, these people are so fucking stupid. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not mad that she's showing the DMs. I'm not mad at her for it. I don't like her. Okay, I can't stand Rose Malay, but I'm not mad at her for showing it. I'm not. I kind of don't blame her.
He also says to me, that was my fucking point, lol. Get it, but whatever, I'll just accept it and not care too deeply.
From here, Rose goes on to expose Brad through a number of kind of unrelated claims with mostly out of context screenshots and like 6-year-old videos. She claims that Brad mistreated many of his friends he made early on YouTube, sort of blowing up and acting like he didn't know anybody.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
In a tweet from 2018, one of his supposed former friends referred to Brad as an egotistical, money-driven, and power-crazy person. And they also leak a DM from Brad where he states, the community hates people like me. I'm a businessman, always have been. I never fit to a group. I love music and I love making content on it, but I also love watching my empire grow. I've always loved having a voice and influence. The community is trying to box me in. I don't want that. I want to focus on my channel and try pushing my content to its furthest point without worrying about people who aren't on my side no matter what. As much as people deny it, it becomes about numbers.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Come on, guy. You don't want to screw people over. You don't want to come up screwing people over. That's a quick way to get everybody to turn against you, and then you end up in, like, I don't know, an Illuminati situation. Look what Illuminati did. She's a perfect example of climbing your way to the top on the backs of people and screwing people over, and look where she's at now. You don't want to do that.
The rest of this video is mostly Rose going through instances where Brad is like called people retarded or, in her words, been transphobic or problematic.
I believe they were trans. I was so wrapped up in my own that I was just like, I don't care about your gender. Hey, you're retarded. I mean, my God, I didn't even realize that word had been on an island and isolated and you couldn't say it anymore. I said it in a fucking awful context, too.
I was transphobic at 17. I like Trump at 17. Rose remembers. I can tell you for sure that I've said the N-word.
Bro.
You guys already knew this. Come on. Oh my God, I know, it's terrible. You guys are acting like you've never said something you weren't supposed to say before. Come on.
Okay, first of all, he was 17. And if he doesn't continue being that way, who gives a fuck? Who cares? What? I mean, come on.
Chill.
He released an album last year as like Big Baller Beer, and like he uses the N-word like in the album at one point.
I don't think most of this stuff matters. It's not really genuine transphobia or whatever, and you know, like just who gives a shit. But one thing is clear: Rose felt harmed by Brad. She felt like he supported her privately and then had a different opinion publicly and decided to disavow her. Now that she was cut off, she decided to pull everything she knew about him from the past to make him look like as bad a person as she possibly could. And I think her intentions were pretty clear throughout this video, and as a result, it didn't really have a very positive reception. Didn't get a lot of likes on that one. This aged like milk. It also seems that Rose has a long history of like befriending a popular YouTuber and maybe working for them or getting to know.
Yes, because she's a clout demon. That is exactly what she's known for. That is exactly what she's known for. She's a clout demon. That's why I don't like her.
Them a bit, and then when they get sick of her and don't want to talk to her, she'll make an exposed video on them, which has a lot of like dubious or unimportant claims that like nobody cares about. But she does have one compelling point about Brad in her conclusion that I think she was able to demonstrate.
I just felt like I needed to say this. My issue is that he is a hypocrite. What he believes privately is often very different from what he believes publicly, and he's even said in the past, the only real difference between me and him is that I say what I believe openly, whereas he is much more careful about his public image and often doesn't reveal his true beliefs.
I agree with her here. Because those DMs that, you know, that Tom read out, what he was saying, he's a snake. He's an absolute snake, bro.
Because the thing that matters most to him is his YouTube audience and not doing anything that might risk that.
In August of 2024, a Twitter user would accuse Brad of stealing from them and putting them in debt. They claim that Brad hired them to help edit a video.
Okay, I'm glad he's going over this part because I did not understand this part whatsoever.
And as a result, he offered to buy them editing software to help get the job done. However, Bradley had seemingly issued a refund on this payment transfer, putting this person's account in a negative balance. After they messaged Brad, he only sent them enough money to partially cover the refund, and then apparently refused to make up for the remainder of the funds that had been spent. Peruko, is this about the $151? Because that's the only transaction in any pictures I see. You better be careful with getting this upset over something I've been working on at my own pace throughout the day. If I don't get proof of anything saying more than $151 was taken out, then it's not my place to solve this. He's basically like, look, I don't know what this is. It doesn't look to me like I did anything wrong. This isn't really my problem. Talk to PayPal about it. But this person claims that Brad was unwilling to work with them and had basically scanned them or stolen from them. And they posted this Twitter thread in the hopes they could get the full amount back. And it got a ton of likes on Twitter, and Brad saw it, and he did not like what he saw. As a result, he would respond stating that the reason it happened was because he is disabled.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Brad, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? No. Oh my God. Okay, listen. Brad Taste is literally doing every faux pas that you can think of by being a content creator. Literally. Oh my God. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Ugh.
You serious?
I got a freaking muscle spasm in my back, you know, gear slipped, air brakes were shot to hell. I mean, there's nothing I could do.
I can't get over how awesome that is. If I ever get in any kind of controversy again, my immediate response will be, I'm disabled. Actually, I'm disabled. Brad would go on to state that he has trouble with vision and poor reading comprehension, and his partner broke her glasses and is currently struggling to see. He also says he immediately noticed the refund and addressed it once he noticed there was some kind of issue. But he would also go on to express his frustration with this person publicizing the drama, remarking that he's friends with them and that this is serious drama he needs to address and fix, obviously, but at the same time they kind of backstabbed him. And this was clearly weighing on him way more heavily than the Ethan Klein thing or even the Rose Malay thing, and the mental effects began to really show from his posts. At this time,
you know how all this started? Well, I mean, Turkey Tom showed how it started, but like the latest events that have happened with Brad Taste, because he fed into the trolls about H3. That's why. He let his audience run his channel. That's what it boils down to.
This time, a lot of people were shitting on Brad. They were bringing up every single grievance they had with him, and as a result, he would remove his Album of the Year account to a lot of fanfare from his haters. And to justify their celebration, they raised every issue under the sun they had, from lesser claims like him apparently artificially increasing the notoriety of his own album with his audience on that website to make it highly rated, to his defenses of Rose Malay, to the Ethan Klein thing. Like, everybody who had an issue with him was coming out of the woodworks being like, he did this, I don't like him because of this, I don't like him because of this.
That's because when it rains, it pours. Literally, when it rains, look what happened. Again, Illuminati. How did the Illuminati downfall start? Because she went after Legal Eagle off of a purple marker on a purple marker effect and a torn page effect. That's how the downfall of Illuminati started. Because she was so big-headed, she thought she could get Legal Eagle on that. And then look what happened to her. Everybody piled in. Well, let me tell you about Illuminati here. Let me tell you about Illuminati here. Well, Illuminati did this. And it all started because of a purple highlighter effect on a video and torn paper effect on a video. Because she just couldn't keep her fucking mouth shut.
And as a result, when he deleted his account, apparently a tag was added to his now dead profile saying deceased. I don't know if this is like a user submitted thing or if this is the staff doing this. I don't really know, but yeah. And people were celebrating that new deceased tag. At this point, Brad had made several statements about how the drama was affecting him mentally. He did seem at least somewhat self-aware of his inability to deal with public criticism and public platforms and fan interaction and all that. He clearly was having a very rough time. And this would ultimately manifest in a video where he said he'd be making a significant and perplexing change to his streams.
What's going to happen now is there's going to be a lot less chat interaction. But I love music. I just really hate that I am like super mentally ill and anyone has access.
Oh God, no. That means you need to get off. You need a break. You need a break. You need to not do this. You need a break. You oh my God. Oh my God, bro. No, you can't. What are you doing? Why are you saying this? No.
Access to the ability to talk to me.
You know, I agree that removing his chat would undoubtedly be a good move for his own mental health, but removing chat from a live stream is also like removing the main appeal of the stream.
Yes.
People who watch streams instead of videos don't just want to watch them for the long runtime, right? Half of the appeal is the chat interaction. People in chat want to be noticed and heard, and talk to other chatters, and have like this sense of community.
Yes, and I like to bully my chat. My chat loves me because I bully them. They love it. They love me being angry and just downright mean to them. They live for it. And then they like my ADHD when I squirrel and go off on a tangent about something that has nothing to do with the video that I'm talking about. But then we reel it back in.
Kind of. That's why the just chatting genre, in which streamers don't play games or anything really, they just talk to viewers and react to stuff with them. That's why it became so popular. That's why Misgift blew up. But Brad said he had to nerf this because his mental health was declining and he couldn't handle it. And in the same video, Brad would claim he was in a dire financial situation.
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask help from you guys. Financial help, like actual financial help right now. You can add super request things to the bottom. I can also link my PayPal. But right now, I need enough money to support my family. And basically, I need enough money to last about a month, right? So in total, maybe about 10 grand.
Oh.
With my family and moving and closing off leases. Yeah. Like, that's like the minimum, right?
A lot.
Oh God, no. No. He asked for Are we dealing with keffels here? Is that what we're dealing with? I'm sorry, when I hear the term 10 grand, or when I hear the words 10 grand, I think of keffels. I can't help it. Holy crap. No. What are you doing?
A lot of people, including myself, found it perplexing that someone with
Okay, listen, and that's not saying, okay, I want to make this very clear. That's not saying when people need help and they need like genuine help, like they're in an emergency situation and they throw like a GoFundMe or something like that up. I'm not against people having to do that, especially in today's economy. I mean, people need help, okay? I get that. People need help. But as a content creator, you got to be careful on how you word that stuff. And especially how so many people have been burnt by like GoFundMes and stuff. You got to be able to show people how you spend that money and be willing to do that. You know, because listen, things happen. Most people are like a medical bill away from losing a house or their living stability and stuff like that. So I get it. GoFundMes, I am not against them. I just want to make that very, very, very clear, you know, because listen, people do need help sometimes and there's nothing wrong with helping people. I'm very wary about who I help and I watch them closely and how they interact and how they talk and stuff like that. And if I get a good feeling about them, I'll throw them some money. I don't have a problem with doing that.
400,000 subscribers who has like previously bragged about the money he's made from his endeavors is asking for financial help from his audience. Like it's a weird thing to do. A lot of people were
Yeah, see, that's why you don't brag about how successful your channel is and how much money you're making, because you never know when you need money. You never know that one bad situation that's going to put you on hard times is going to happen. It can happen at any second. That's why you don't brag. Stay humble.
Also confused as to why Brad needed $10,000 to move. Like, that's a lot of money. I moved into a house not that long ago, and it didn't cost anywhere near $10,000.
Skrigel says, do you even know how much money I've donated to you over the years? You have donated $22,388.19. Your first donation was August 4th, 2022 at 3:48 p.m. And your latest donation was June 8th, 2024. You are now the second highest donator, topped by Ned, who hasn't donated in a while, so you'll only...
What the fuck are you doing? What in the fuck is he doing? No, we gotta go back on that. No.
to move. Like, that's a lot of money. I moved into a house not that long ago, and it didn't cost anywhere near $10,000.
Skriggle says, do you even know how much money I've donated to you over the years? You have donated $22,388.19. Your first donation was August 4th, 2022 at 3:48 p.m. And your latest donation was June 8th, 2024. You are now the second highest donator, topped by Ned, who hasn't donated in a while, so you only got to send in another $2,200. And they started speculating.
Did you think that was cute to do? What in the hell? What in the hell? You don't do that! Oh my god! That's just as bad as like the bitch on Twitch that was going $5. You mean to tell me you spend all this time watching me and you can't afford $5? You don't do that! Oh my god! I don't even ask! I don't even, listen, I don't shill out super chats. I don't shill out memberships. I don't do any of that. If y'all want to join, you join. If y'all want to give me a super chat, you give me a super chat. I don't ask for it. I mean, sure, I'll ask for a like and subscribe, but that's about it. Oh my god, you don't sit there and beg people for money. Bruh. Oh my god, that's not, that's not good form. Nope, I do not agree with that. I can tell you that right now. No.
Speculating as to why he apparently had no money in the bank. Why can he not just cover this expense, right? Even if he does have to pay $10,000, he's in a position where he should have that. A lot of them speculated that he could have some kind of serious gambling addiction that's siphoning his funds away. And on top of that, he just came across as very entitled. He's demanding his fans for money for really nothing in return, when he clearly had been making tens of thousands of dollars regularly, monthly, off of a pretty easy job. And on top of that, he also commented on how negative criticism and hate was really affecting his mental health.
If you're one of the people who is stopping me from doing this and also telling me that it's for my own good, fuck you. You, if you are a subscriber, unsubscribe, leave a comment, and I'll happily hide you from the channel.
Wait, what did he just say?
Job. And on top of that, he also commented on how negative criticism and hate was really affecting his mental health.
If you're one of the people who is stopping me from doing this and also telling me that it's for my own good, fuck you. You, if you are a subscriber, unsubscribe, leave a comment, and I'll happily hide you from the channel. Genuinely, you guys are some of the worst fucking people I've ever met, and I'm glad that I'm going to stop making friends on the internet.
Well, this...
Oh my god. He's literally purposely tanking his channel. Holy crap.
This in and of itself was unadvisable, to say the least. I would never recommend that any YouTuber e-beg from their audience. Eventually, a clip surfaced and made it seem like Brad was in genuine danger, and people became really worried for him.
I, under no circumstance, can listen to this album right now, because I am not safe in my own home, and I really can't describe much else.
What? What?
This live stream was quickly removed with no explanation, and there's no other re-uploads or further clips of this anywhere online. He really managed to wipe it. But from that short clip, it doesn't seem like he's joking. It's clear that there's something going on with him. And as a result, a lot of people on Twitter and other websites expressed a lot of their concern and confusion with him, wondering what the fuck even happened.
Been watching Brad Tay since he was around my channel size. He's completely lost it. Y'all don't know it. Y'all don't know this about him, but he has also reacted horribly to deleted meltdown vids from 4 or 5 years ago. But these recent meltdowns have just been a whole new level. He has such a victim complex, no shame, own ability to own up to his mistakes or move on from them. Any tiny little issue becomes a literal mental or emotional hell for him, and he somehow always finds a way to turn it into a massive long drama. Most of this wouldn't affect nearly any other YouTuber. He's just spineless. I mean, honestly, from what we've seen, I kind of have to agree with this. Yeah, I kind of have to agree with this. Yeah. Damn. Oh my god, bro. What is he doing?
People on Twitter and other websites expressed a lot of their concern and confusion with him, wondering what the fuck even happened. On the Brad Tay subreddit, where a lot of his fans were congregating and talking about this stuff, one user claimed that Brad, in reference to his fiancée, said that she had turned all of his friends against him and that the relationship was falling apart. One user even claimed that on that stream he had called the cops on himself, I guess. I don't know who he was calling the cops on, but yeah. The details here are very scarce, so take all that with a grain of salt. But what...
Yeah, it's on Reddit. It's on Reddit. I take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to Reddit, because I've seen too many bad examples of Reddit taking it way out of proportion, unless I can find facts to back up what that Reddit poster is saying. You know what I mean?
What is clear, even from the clip we do have that's confirmed to be, real and him having kind of a freak out, it's clear that he's having sharp mental decline, and it's likely that his safety is not being affected by his partner, but instead himself. A lot of fans were concerned. They started messaging like his fiancée and his friends, being like, hey, is Brad okay? Something going on? What the fuck is going on? Is he all right? Do I need to call someone? And she would eventually respond to someone saying that Brad is okay, that they're both safe, and that they're getting the help they need, whatever that may be. I assume some kind of psychiatric help.
He needs it. He needs it. And I don't mean that to be an asshole. It's very obvious he does need help. And I hope he gets it, because apparently the state that he's in, he can't be happy. He can't be happy in that state. So he obviously does need the help. I don't know how I feel about him personally. I mean, he kind of seems like a snake to me. Yeah, I don't like Rose, but at the same time, it kind of looked, I mean, it kind of looked like he was saying one thing to her behind the scenes and then turned around and let his audience tell him how to feel about her. And that's snake behavior, you know? That's snake behavior. You got to look out for stuff like that. But yeah, he obviously needs help.
Probably for Brad in particular. But other people would further speculate about the existence of a gambling addiction, which would explain where his money went. I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like if he's making the money that he's been claiming he's making, and you can tell that he's making on YouTube, and he doesn't have a lot of that money in the bank somehow, even if he is spending it like stupidly on like, I don't know, designer clothing or a watch or something, there has to be something else going on that explains where all his money is disappearing and evaporating to. And at the same time that people were concerned about his mental health, others pointed out how the prospect of Brad being able to rake in the dough from his content really changed his approach, and he became a different person once the money started rolling in. I remember the first time someone paid him a big chunk of change to listen to a full album, and you could tell from his facial expression that he was shocked someone was actually paying him that much. A similar thing happened when he did the Corey Feldman torture stream, and someone paid him $1,000 to listen to the album again. His jaw hit the floor, and at the time, it was amazing to watch, but in retrospect, that was the beginning of the end. This happened.
Shit, pay me $1,000. I'll listen to it, and I will do it with a smile on my face. $1,000 to listen to it? Yeah, I'll do it. Shoot.
Happened enough times that watching people throwing obscene amounts of money at Brad became normal. Suddenly, streaming was no longer a side thing, it was his main content. It went from a weekly thing to a daily thing. Everything he listened to was something he was paid to listen to. His audience members shot up, and he could make a living off of it. But his content stopped being about being entertaining and started being about keeping the money flowing in. Just another example of commerce destroying art. That leads us to today. Brad's become so accustomed to earning huge amounts of money that he's become out of touch and thinks casually asking his audience for $10,000 is acceptable, regardless of his mental health.
Yeah, you can't do that. Listen, if they're throwing money at you to watch something, okay, fine. You know, if that's your content, that is A-okay. That's fine. But you can't expect that. Expecting it would be wrong. If it just so happens to happen, I don't see a problem with it. You know what I mean?
Struggles, it's clear there's a lot to criticize Brad for. And frankly, excusing everything he's done publicly with, well, he's mentally ill, is not a very good argument or justification, but it is clearly a part of the picture, a big part of it. A lot of his problems have been exasperated by his flimsy mental state. His inability to take criticism, his inability to respond to it without having a mental breakdown, his financial situation, his indignance over people who criticize him and calling them all haters. It's sort of, I wouldn't call Brad a lolcow, but it's lolcow behavior. Yeah, it's lolcow.
Yeah, no, he definitely has the gene.
Over people who criticize him and calling them all haters. It's sort of, I wouldn't call Brad a lolcow, but it's lolcow behavior. Yeah, it's lolcow behavior for sure. And all this stuff is wrapped up into a perfect concoction of just shit for Brad. I think if he wants to continue having a public-facing job in the future, if YouTube's something he's not willing to let go, I think he really needs to sort out all these problems before he returns, or else he's going to return to the same exact cycle. We've seen it happen before with a lot of people like Fusi2.
I 100% agree with him there. I 100% agree with him. He needs to sort everything out before he comes back to YouTube. He needs to. Because obviously there's a lot wrong there that affects his job, you know? And if he wants to make YouTube his job, he needs to sort those things out. I agree with Turkey Tom on that one.
Where they are clearly mentally ill. They do a bunch of shitty things. They try to use that to justify it, and then they just get back online again and again because of the positive affirmation they get for, you know, some of the non-crazy stuff they do, and then that leads to them acting like a fool online and ruining their career. If he doesn't get this stuff addressed in his time offline, he's going to find himself in the exact same cycle, and even more of his audience is going to stop watching him.
Yeah, he's going to end up turning out like FouseyTube. Absolutely. I agree. I 100% agree. It's crazy. You're like literally watching somebody. It's like watching a train wreck in real time. Like you want to look away because you know a lot of people are going to get hurt, but you can't. Because it's also like, oh my God, what's going to happen? You're literally watching somebody burn their channel to the ground themselves. Like he's doing it to himself. And I don't like seeing people do that. I mean, because I don't know this guy, but damn.
What's up, guys? Bradley here, letting you know that I am going to rehab. Yep. About 2 months. It's intensive outpatient care. And I'm not going to be uploading. And if I am going to be uploading, it's going to be something, you know, either super familiar or maybe something completely different with DJing. Regardless, I need a break. A lot of stuff has happened in the last month I've not handled well. I've not been handling my anger well. I've not been handling controversy well. And I've kind of, honestly, just ended up in a really bad spot and embarrassed a lot of people because of it. So what I'm going to be doing is going somewhere to essentially...
You embarrassed yourself, too. Not just embarrassed a lot of other people. You've embarrassed yourself. Holy crap.
Actually learn more about myself and get help so that I can basically make a healthy return. So just wanted to let you know that there's going to be like essentially expect zero content for the next 2 months. So that's all. Peace.
Personally, I find Brad to be a coward who is really just controlled by his fear. He doesn't have conviction in anything, and he's very...
You know, I agree, but I don't think he's just controlled by his fear. Well, okay, controlled by his fear, yeah. All right, we'll go with controlled by his fear. His fear of his audience. That's how this downfall started. Because of that damn picture with H3H3.
Actually expect zero content for the next 2 months. So that's all. Peace.
Personally, I find Brad to be a coward who is really just controlled by his fear, and he doesn't have conviction in anything, and he's very ungrateful, entitled. He's just not a super great guy, but I also understand that he needs help, and in his mental state, he's really messed up. I hope he gets his career back and he can just shut his mouth, but that remains to be seen. You know, once he returns, we'll have more confirmation of how that goes. I've been Tom. I am Tom. I've been Tom. I was Tom. I am Tom. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Check out this channel for more videos. Check out the live channel for live clips. Check out the main channel for documentaries, video essay documentaries, and check out the IRL channel for real documentaries and vlogs and vlog content.
That was a good video because, listen, I understood some of the Brad Taste stuff, but I didn't know exactly the whole thing. That was a good video. That was a good video. Good. Now I understand it better. I bully my audience, and I'm damn proud of it too. Stay humble.